Speaking of luxury cars, the first thing that came to your mind may not be the BMW 7 Series or the Audi A8 or even the Lexus LS. It's actually a very daring name, the Mercedes-Benz S-Class. Yes, doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter if you like cars or not, the Mercedes S-Class has always sort of been the symbol for luxury cars. So this 2012 Mercedes S350L has been with me for over half a year. In the past few months, with the coronavirus impact, I also felt the difficulties in businesses. But in this difficult time, this car brought me new thoughts and feelings. So today, I decided to share with you why the W221 S-Class is the best S-Class ever made in our generation. This S-Class, to me, it is like the Mercedes grand opening into a new era. First of all, it is a beautiful and gorgeous car. The lines are very natural and sleek and powerful. And those eagle eye headlights combined with this slightly reclined front face, giving it a forward moving stance. If you come to the front face, you will be instantly stunned by the sort of Mercedes S-Class exclusive power, because it is just so powerful. This classic grille combined with the Mercedes logo as well as the strong body, all of them speak of respect. On the side, this car is 17 feet long, 6.2 feet wide and 4.9 feet tall with a wheelbase of 10.5 feet. Definitely a big car. On the side here, you see the line that goes slightly upward, this curvy line. It's just beautiful and natural. The two side fenders is very obvious, definitely strengthening its powerful look. The rear end design is pretty rounded with some sharp finishes in the details, which is very different and distinguishable from the C-Class and E-Class from its era and even today. Remember, this is an S-Class. An S-Class in German, it's Sonderklasse, which means special class. This car is meant to be special. And if you take a look at the latest S-Class leaked photos, my God, is it trying to pay respect to a newer A-Class? Therefore, I truly believe that the W221's design is very successful because it sustained the test of time. Today, it still looks beautiful, and I believe in 10 years, people will still appreciate this design. In terms of the powertrain, this S350L is equipped with a 3.5-liter naturally aspirated V6 engine that outputs 306 horsepower and 273 pound-feet of torque. This engine is paired with a 7-speed automatic transmission, can go from 0 to 60 in about 7 seconds with a top speed of 156 miles per hour. To be honest with you, this power is pretty much just okay. However, this car is also equipped with a 4MATIC all-wheel drive as well as airmatic suspension. Therefore, its ride comfort and quality is just very, very stable. Coming to the interior, now, I reckon the material and the craftsmanship on the W221 S-Class is just superior. This type of car, it needs to use light color interior like these, because the black color interior is just still not very comfortable to my eyes. And with the khaki and sort of light yellow combination as well as the darker wood decoration, this sort of fancy feeling just come right into your face. Nowadays, many luxury cars love to use the sort of black, piano black, glossy black components that I don't really like. First of all, it's easy to get dirty, especially with fingerprint and static. And also, it just doesn't feel as good quality. On this car, this type of wood with, the texture and as well as those aluminum components just makes the interior much more high class and elegant. Nowadays, one of the trends in these luxury cars is the ambient lighting. And yes, this car compared to the newer S-Class doesn't have what I call a nightclub mode. It only has a very limited selection of ambient lightings. But I found that only warmer colored lights can bring you the sort of cozy feel. The seat is very comfortable. It's got multi-way adjustment as well as memory seat function. And it also have the seat heating and seat ventilation. Very nice and comfy. There is plenty of space in this car. My arms and legs, they don't really feel constrained at all. This car is also equipped with the Harman Kardon sound system with 9 speakers and Logic 7 surrounding effect. It's still much better than many of the sound systems in today's cars. And also, this car has a very interesting technology even today, which is the dual display mode in the center screen. For example, me as the driver can watch or see the navigation, and my passenger can still see whatever movie he or she likes without interruption. Besides that, the infrared night vision system and a digital speedometer as well as lane keep assist, all these were seemingly very innovative technology back then, still doesn't feel outdated today. The right rear seat on this car is what we called the boss seat. First of all, it's got a private little tray table for you to put some, food or maybe iPad or laptop. And this seat, you can pretty much lay down in a very comfortable position, and you can also control the seat in front of you. If you pull down the handle in the middle, open the lid, you will also find a remote. This remote controls all the infotainment system in this car. And I should also mention that the TV here can receive signal for sport program, which is really cool. You see, the luxury in the Mercedes S-Class isn't just superficial, it's a lot of details. For example, the shifting pedal on the right has a little bump, and the shifting pedal on the left has a little hole. The center console lid can be opened from both sides, and the inner side of the door handle is carved out to fit your finger better. The way the doom light is turned on, the buttons as well as the switches, the feedback and weight to them feels really comfortable. And all these privacy curtains in the back for the rear passengers, all these elements are telling you that the W221 S-Class is one serious car with much respect to the riders that is dedicated to provide a private and comfortable space. This car initially would cost you over $100,000. And you may be asking, paying that much money for a car like this, would you feel excited? And I say yes initially for many S-Class owners, but quickly that sort of excitement turned into a peace of mind, which is so different from the intensiveness in the business world. And I think that's what makes this car really amazing. A couple of days back, a subscriber visited, and he was sitting on the passenger seat right here. He kept reminding me that, Andrew, you've been driving this car for so long. Don't forget that you're a performance car YouTuber. And I say, yes, I used to daily drive a Porsche Cayman, and back then, every day I felt energized and excited. However, sometimes you would think to yourself, do I really need driving experience and joy and fun at this time? And this car is certainly designed to fill that gap for you. After a long day of tiring work, you come back to this place, you can forget about the anger, the anxiety, and all the negativity in your mind, and have this private and peaceful space only to yourself. You have the time to sweat out all the little nonsense and things in your mind. And for example, I would be thinking this car, how to make this video, and will people hit the subscribe button and give it a like, thumbs up, comment, and so on. Because in this space, the comfortable sitting, the ambient lighting, and the thickness of the steering wheel, everything will help you find your peace of mind. The engine on the W221 Mercedes S-Class still retain the characteristics of the classic naturally aspirated Mercedes engine. Power delivery is very linear and stable, and gas pedal response is towards the slower side. You're gonna give it a little bit of time for it to react to your input. For example, like this. You see right there? I pushed it to the floor, and it took like 2-3 seconds before it reacted to my input. But you don't really feel the transition because the transmission and the engine together, they work so well. You don't feel the thing is shifting. So sometimes when you give it more gas, you'll find yourself driving at 80 miles per hour before you know it. And behind the steering wheel is the shift lever. And starting in W221, all Mercedes models started to use shift lever on the side behind the steering wheel. What does that say to you? Well, it says, good design. It's meant to be duplicated. And not only that, other things in this car you will see, you can also see that the later Mercedes models also learned and used from this car. And other manufacturers, luxury manufacturers, also took notes on the design and the interior on this car. So that sort of speaks of how successful this car was for its time. Okay, let's take a corner right here. Give it a nice turn. Whew. Massive body roll right here, massive. However, in terms of handling, I think this car is doing pretty okay. First thing first, the steering has only a bit of dead zone initially. It's not too bad compared to other luxury sedans, full-size sedans at its time, and before that, you don't feel like you're driving the boat. It's surprisingly nimble for the kind of car it is. Of course, this car is not designed for, handling, but the weight and the feedback from the steering wheel, this electric powered hydraulic steering, the way it feels is just an enjoyment. I've driven other electric powered steering cars, and those steering feedback from those cars, it just feels really light. It's effortless. However, you lose the control, sort of. You lose the communication with the car and with the road. To me, that's not driving, and you don't really have a peace of mind. But in this car, in a W221 S-Class, not only it's effortless, you also maintain the connection with the car and the road. And that, to me, it's very important because that gives you a peace of mind. The newer S-Class feels more luxurious, to be honest with you, than the W221. Everything is nicely made and sparkling and fancy. In comparison, the W221 is a different kind of luxury. It's simplistic and it's timeless. Everything is timeless. And the most important thing I have to talk about is that W221 feels more comfortable than the newer S-Class, which is surprising because I went to the dealer and tried out the newer S-Class, and I went on my friend's car for a ride, which was also the W222 S-Class. It don't feel as comfortable as this one. Now, don't get me wrong. I think the newer S-Class is still an excellent vehicle. From a technical point of view, it is more advanced, more modern, and it feels younger than the W221. However, that kind of special feeling that S-Class always carries just kind of got weakened. Don't believe me? Then you take a look at the C-Class and E-Class rear ends and then compare that to S-Class. It's just not that special anymore. And you look at the interior of the newer S-Class, yes, it's beautiful, but then you take a look at the E-Class. Again, they feel like pretty much a similar thing. The side bolstering on the newer S-Class feels more substantial, and the entire design language of the car is just more sporty. In comparison, the W221, the powerful stance, the elegant and confident stance is just very special and meaningful. So there's a reason why only Mercedes S-Class becomes sort of the symbol or the standard in luxury cars, and you don't really hear anything from BMW or Audi and Lexus and so on. It's because the Mercedes S-Class has already become a symbol in our mind. Mercedes has already more or less affected our way of thinking. The soul of Mercedes-Benz is the S-Class. Is their saying of the best or nothing? Well, what is best? To my understanding, when something becomes the industry standard of its kind, this is the best. Set aside the BMW 7 Series and the Audi A8 at this era, the W221 S-Class is, you can look forward to it. It's got its own class, yet you can still relate to it. Now, you may be asking, is this car any special? Yes or no? Because on one hand, this car was the sort of bar for luxury cars back then. And on the other hand, every S-Class owner has got its own history and story, and all of their life experience can be concentrated on a car like this. Just like the W140 back in 1990s, which was the best S-Class ever made. And I believe the W221 S-Class is the best S-Class made in my time, because it changed an era instead of chasing the changes in that era. Although at my age and experience, I may not be able to interpret the mindset of the S-Class owners. However, after spending some time with this car, what I learned is you either have nothing or you do your best, leaving no regret.